When the Nagas enter the battlefield, with the battle drums rolling and reverberating the sky with their war cries, the incredible sight of their war-painted faces is enough to put fear in the enemy camp. Naga Regiment is one of the youngest regiments of Indian Army, and it is made up of the fiercest and finest warriors from northeast India. Jai Hind! I am Captain Yashika Hatwal Tyagi, and welcome to Shaurya Tales. It is a series of awe-inspiring stories of brave hearts, timeless traditions, and trivia from Indian Armed Forces. Today's story is very special for two reasons. One, it is my proud privilege to bring to you the heroic story of brave son of Nagaland, Sipahi Imliya Kumao, Mahavir Chakra. And secondly, you, my wonderful audience, you are the reason, because you have considered this channel as your own and have requested me to cover this particular story in today's episode. It gives me immense pleasure to bring to you these stories, and it also gives me great joy when you share your requests. Please, please, please keep sharing your requests like this, and I will be more than happy to bring the stories of brave hearts to you over and over again. Let us make it a mission to share these stories far and wide. We owe it to our motherland. We owe it to these fearless and selfless martyrs who gave up their lives just so that people like you and me can live safely, securely, and be prosperous. As I am covering this story as tribute to Nagaland, I will be speaking predominantly in English. My dear friends, let us begin today's story. But before we do, few words about Nagaland. Nagaland is a land of unparalleled natural beauty. There are almost 16 major tribes in Nagaland. Each tribe is different from one another as they have different cultural practices. There are different folk songs, different folk tales, a different part of history and different traditions. Their way of dressing is different, their jewelries are different. So much so that the colorful patterns woven on their shawls and meklas are also different from one tribe to another. Nagaland is one of the most linguistically diverse states of our country. Incidentally, today I am also wearing some Naga jewelry. Hero of today's story, Sipahi Imliya Kumao, always wanted to join Indian Army. He wanted to wear the olive green uniform of Indian Army. And with determination and focus, his dream came true. He joined Indian Army and became part of Naga Regiment. Well, this story is set in the backdrop of Operation Vijay, popularly known as the Battle of Kargil. In the year 1999, Pakistani infiltrators had come inside our mainland and had seized control of heights at Kargil, Batalik, Dras, Mashko sectors. These were the icy heights. Enemy was very well entrenched. He had occupied heights and had also stored great amount of ammunition. We were of course caught by surprise in the beginning, but as we got surprised, swifter was our response. Indian Army started giving Pakistanis the battle of their lives. Indian Army was winning in one operation after another. International pressure was mounting on Pakistan. In the month of July 1999, the American President Bill Clinton spoke to Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and asked him to backtrack. Well, he agreed then, but Pakistanis being Pakistanis, you know how they are. They stayed where they are and kept causing damage to us. One such stronghold was in Mashko Valley, area Twin Bumps, point 4875. Enemy was very well entrenched with great and huge amount of ammunition. He was causing damage to us through constant bombardment of the mortars. It was imperative for us to decimate the enemy from our motherland. The mission to capture Twin Bumps, point 4875, was given to the 2nd Battalion of Naga Regiment. Why Nagas? Because Naga soldiers are perfect war machines for mountain warfare. Their muscular physique and strong limbs enable them to climb the mountains easily. Naga people adjust to cold climate and difficult terrain very easily. But above all, the DNA of a warrior makes them a force beyond compare. During this operation, we had two enemies. One, the very well trained, very well equipped and very well entrenched enemy. And secondly, the inclement weather. Mashko Valley is at a height of almost 15,000 feet. Rarefied atmosphere of high altitude and extreme cold climate area. The oxygen levels dip down to almost 50% of what it is there in the plain areas. And temperature? It dips down to minus 20 degrees Celsius, made even chillier because of wind chill factor. The howling winds keep raging. In this cold desert, where there is no vegetation on mountains, the mountains are steep with very sharp edges. The very well entrenched enemy was quite confident that no one will be able to climb up to their post during daylight hours. And so, enemy was relaxed during the day. So far, in Kargil operation, most of the operations had taken place during the night because enemy sitting in the heights. But here, a daredevil strategy was planned. प्लान किया गया कि इस समय रात नहीं बल्कि दिन के समय अटैक किया जाएगा and we will achieve total surprise by mounting our assault during the day. That day, each Naga warrior knew that this is a dangerous mission. Generations of their forefathers were looking at them from above with hope, and the ferocious headhunters bellowed the war cry and got ready for the battle of their lives. They were ready for this challenge. It was an extremely risky plan, but you can trust a Naga to do something unimaginable like this. Well, Sipahi Imlia Kum'ao was at the head of this offensive. He was the scout. Okay, now you will ask me, what is a scout? So, let me tell you the importance of having scout during an offensive. Whenever an army enters an area with the threat of enemy presence, 2 or 3 scouts are sent ahead way ahead from the main body, and they look for any kind of thing that is out of ordinary, because it can be an ambush, it can be an improvised explosive device, it can be a mine. And if the scout notices anything out of ordinary, he stops the main body right where they are. A well-trained and alert scout can save lives of the fellow countrymen. So, Imliakum Ao was the scout, and his role was to move on ahead, climb the mountain, and open the route, find the safest route for the assault group of the regiment. It was like being on the tip of the arrow. His was the most daring role in the most dangerous mission. Imliakum Ao was very well aware of this responsibility. Smearing his body with mud so that he can blend with the surroundings, he started climbing up. Climbing calmly and stealthily in open area with no cover, in open view of the enemy. It was indeed a very dangerous task. Sometimes crawling with speed, sometimes still, sometimes crouching behind a rock. Sipahi Imliakum Ao was one with nature that day. He could feel the wind moving right on his cheek. He would feel the small pebbles touching his body, the sweat on his palms. Imliakum Ao kept moving forward. The mountains were dry. He tried to make no untoward movement. His mind and body were completely alert. Each fiber and each hair of his body was screaming alertness that day. But the mountains were dry. Suddenly one rock slipped and rolled down. Enemy guard who was standing up immediately took notice. He looked around, took on his gun, and fired a burst of bullets in the general direction. Imliakum Ao crouched behind a rock. Still, he waited for some time. Bullets kept flying past Imliakum. Some from here, some from there. But he crouched behind the rock, holding his breath. What happened? He survived. No bullet could touch him. Imliakum Ao waited for some time and then started climbing again. And after what seemed like an eternity, finally he reached near the enemy post. He saw one guard. जोश और होश दोनों को कामयाब रखते हुए सिपाही इमलियाकुम आओ tiptoed very stealthily and reached where that enemy guard was standing. He was behind the enemy. Enemy could not see, could not hear that the death is right there near him. Like a tiger, Imliakum Ao pounced upon that enemy. He closed his mouth with one hand, took hold of his neck, and broke and twisted his neck with his bare hands, and decimated that enemy with his bare hands. In a fraction of a second, Sipahi Imliakum Ao had killed one enemy. And then he saw another enemy. He saw another enemy guard. Without losing any momentum, with stealth and agility, he moved like lightning. Again, same modus operandi. He jumped on him from behind, again caught hold of that enemy and twisted and broke his neck. And in a matter of minutes, he had killed two enemies with his bare hands. Sipahi Imliakum Ao had cleared the way for the assault team to reach near the enemy post. before the enemy could realize. The Naga regiment warriors were already charging inside the enemy mortar post, and they killed the enemies, shouting their war cry, Jai, Jai, Jai Durga Naga, Jai Durga Naga. The enemy had finally gotten the taste of the ferocious headhunters, but they did not live to tell the story. True to the motto of Naga regiment, Parakramo Vijayete, the credit goes to Sipahi Imlia Kum Ao, that the mission given to 2 Naga regiment was accomplished. Mission accomplished without any casualty on our side. एक खरोंच भी नहीं लगी, and we decimated the enemy's mortar position. For exemplary courage and valor, Sipahi Imlia Kum Ao was awarded Mahavir Chakra, the second most highest gallantry award of India. Bravo Zulu! The nation salutes the brave son of Nagaland, Sipahi Imlia Kum Ao, महावीर चक्रा। शौर्य टेल्स के अगले एपिसोड में ऐसी और कहानियों के साथ हम फिर मिलेंगे। कीप शेयरिंग योर रिक्वेस्ट्स एंड कीप सर्कुलेटिंग दीज स्टोरीज फॉर एंड वाइड। जय हिंद।